I'm attempting to pay my bills through playing poker, and I'm down over $4,000. But last episode, I won just over $2,400. I ran good, played good, and felt amazing. It was the exact kind of week I needed to potentially turn this thing around. But this episode, it's not going to be that easy. In fact, it all comes down to one single hand. I put in the raise to $200. I am absolutely dying. Currently, I'm editing last week's video while filming this week's video. And I have a special week planned for y'all. Today, I'm driving down to the fort to crush some 1-3, but on Friday, I'm driving all the way down to play at the lodge. But that's on Friday. First, I gotta handle business today. So, I'll see you at the fort. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, and you're probably asking yourself, why the heck are you starting your session at 2:30 in the afternoon? Well, for some odd reason, that's when the games are the best here at the fort. Literally, as soon as I take my seat, I get involved in a hand. I didn't even have time to take my camera off the tripod, but basically what happened was I made a $350 bluff attempt, and it worked. I'm up $150 after playing one hand. 10 minutes later, we're still in the same orbit, and I look down at Queen Jack of Spades in the hijack. The +2 opens at 20. I should almost always be 3-betting this hand, but obviously if I'm saying this right now, it means I didn't. This invited 2 other players to make the call. We're going 4 ways to a flop. It comes King Deuce 3 with 2 spades. We have a flush draw. The small blind checks. The initial raiser checks, and now it's on me. I bet $40. The button and small blind fold, but the initial raiser does not. He raises to $200. In my mind, this means he has a king or maybe even pocket aces. If that's the case, I only have 36% equity right now, which means I'm not getting the right price to make this call. So, I call. And we're instantly rewarded. What's even better news is my opponent just goes all in. I snap call. Just like that, we're playing a massive pot. He asks me if I have a flush, which means we're ahead right now. We agree to run it twice, and here's what happens. So we get it in great, but we still end up chopping. On the bright side, if I would have ran it once, I would have got scooped, and I probably would have went on Omega tilt. So I can't be too upset about the result. So that was the first 10 minutes of my session. This is the next 4 hours. I lose a big PLO bomb pot. My stack takes a hit. Then I win a big PLO bomb pot. I'm back to even. Then a weird hand like this would happen. I have Queen Jack of Hearts in late position. There's a raise to 20 and a few callers. I 3-bet to 80, which is way too small. Half the players fold, but the other half somehow find a call after flattening the initial $20 raise. Okay, I completely whip the flop, but I don't even get a chance to make a move because the player to my right just jams for $200. Obviously I fold, and obviously the other player has a hand he can call with, so he calls. One of them has 7-8 suited, understandable, and the other player has King 8 offsuit, very standard. This is basically what went on for the next 4 hours, except I went card dead. And I did everything in my power to pick up cards. I tried every method you could possibly think of. I peeled my cards sideways. That didn't work. I peeled them forward. That didn't work. Then I peeled them one at a time, and I picked up pocket kings. And I won a $40 pot. So that was awesome. I actually started to pick up some mediocre hands towards the end of my session, but just like before, I couldn't connect with the board at all. After hours of putting in chips pre-flop and folding on the flop, my stack slowly but surely dwindles down. I played for over 5.5 hours. Then I realized this session is doomed. So I racked up and called it a night. Hands down, the most boring session of poker I've ever played in my entire life, and honestly it might be the most boring session of poker ever recorded. Literally played for like almost 6 hours, and there's one hand of note to go through with you guys because everything else was so freaking boring. Still managed to lose $808 to be exact, so that was fun, but if I'd have stayed in there any longer, I would have probably blinded out. I don't even know if that's possible in a cash game, but I would have done it. The good news, it's not gonna be hard to top this session on Friday. Bar is set super low. I have nothing else to say. Boring session, horrible result. I'll see you guys on Friday. We made it, y'all. It's 2 days later since I played last, and I'm currently in the lodge parking lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting amazing vibes, okay? I'm staying at the same hotel I stayed at when I won $30,000 the beginning of this year, so I think I'm due for another $30,000 win. Gonna be kind of hard because I'm playing 1-3 today, so you know what? I'll take 15K. I'm not greedy, all right? Now, I have one goal today, one goal, and it's something that I've been working on, and I think it's something we could all work on as poker players, so this advice pertains to pretty much everybody watching. Be patient, specifically when you're card dead, okay? We're all guilty of it, right? You get dealt 9-7 offsuit, and on the 8th time when you get it in 9 shuffles, you're like, you know what? I would have flopped 2 straights if I would have played this hand. I would have rivered quads on one hand. I would have stacked 3 guys. I'd have been up 5K. I'm gonna play it, and then you play it, and you get scooped. So when I'm card dead, remain patient. That's the goal. If I can accomplish that, I'll be happy. With that being said, let's go in there and let's win 15K. I was planning on playing 1-3 today. At the lodge, you can buy in for $1,500 to a 1-3 game. So I take $1,500 to the cage and exchange it for chips. There's a wait for 1-3, so I get seated on a 1-2 table while I wait. As soon as I sit down, they call me for 1-3. So I rack up my chips and head over to my 1-3 table. This table looks tough, but there's a lot of straddling going on. So I was hoping this game wouldn't be nitty. It was. I played a few hands. I won some small pots, lost some small pots, and after about an hour of playing at that table, I moved one table over. This table looks a lot better, but there are some good players over here as well. For the first hour at my new table, I lose a lot of really small pots, and my stack dwindles down to around $1,300. But then I finally get involved in a big hand. I'm in the small blind and look down at King Jack of Diamonds. There's one limp before the hijack opens to $35. I 3-bet to 110. It folds back around to the hijack and he puts in the call. We're heads up. The flop comes deuce 6 deuce with 2 clubs. We have absolutely nothing. So I c-bet for $80. He calls. The turn is an 8. I should probably give up now, but then it hits me. I 3-bet pre-flop. I'm gonna have all the aces, kings, and queens in my range, so let's represent one of those hands. I bet $250, setting up for a pod-sized jam on the river if he calls, which he does. Dealer, just put a king out there on the river so I don't have to jam with king high. He doesn't. Now I know I just said I was setting up for a pot-sized jam on the river, but I just got the feeling that this guy wasn't gonna fold. So even though I know a jam would put this guy in a miserable spot, I just get gun shy. And like a weak, scared little puppy, I check. He snap checks it back and shows pocket 10s, which sucks because a jam on the river would have probably got him to fold, although he did tell me he wasn't folding to any bet on the river, which I took note of because that means he's probably a sticky player. Exactly 3 shuffles later, I pick up pocket queens. There's a raise from under the gun to 15. I put in the 3-bet to 50. Action folds back around to under the gun and he does not call. Obviously, when I finally have a premium, this guy's gonna 4-bet. He makes it 190. Typically, you want to play big pots with hands like pocket queens, but this just feels like aces or kings every single time. But we're in position, and I just lost a big hand, so I call. The flop is just horrendous. It's King Jack 3. Now we lose to Ace King and Pocket Jacks as well. Surprisingly, my opponent checks. This seems like a spot I should almost always check back, but in the moment, I thought if I bet here on the flop and he just calls, he's almost always going to check me on the turn, so I can basically guarantee that I'll see a river. That's what I was thinking. The issue is, I just know I'm so far behind, so why put money in the middle? I don't know, but I bet 150. Obviously, he has us beat, so he calls. The turn is a brick and my opponent checks again. I decide I'm done donating money to this guy, so I check it back. The river is another brick, and now my opponent bets. I don't beat any of his value hands, and I haven't seen him bluff at all, so I'm forced to fold. That hand takes my stack down to just under $600, but before I can even add on, the very next hand, I pick up pocket queens again. I open to 20 from middle position. Now the cutoff 3-bets to 60. Action folds back around to me, and I decide to just call. Reason being, I want to underrep my hand and set up a check jam on either the flop or the turn. The flop is 663. I check and he bets $85. If he has a hand like pocket 10s or pocket jacks, I don't think he's folding to a jam. So sticking to the plan, I go all in. And he snap folds, so that didn't work. That hand brings my stack back up over $700, which means I'm down close to $800 at the moment. So I add on for another $700. In total, I'm in for $2,200. Things haven't really been going my way so far, but I've been staying patient. I haven't played any garbage, and I fought off the tilt that's slowly creeping in. A few shuffles after adding on, I look down at Ace Jack of clubs. There's one limp before the button opens at $30. This is the same opponent who called me all the way down with pocket tens earlier. I perceive this guy to be a sticky player. If I can just connect with this board, there's a chance I could win a big one. Now, typically, I'd 3-bet this hand, especially being out of position. But I know if this guy doesn't believe I have a strong hand, he's very likely to pay me off if I do make a hand. So I decide to disguise the strength of my hand and just call. The limper calls as well, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. It comes ace high. I check. The cutoff checks. Now the button bets $80. He could have ace king or ace queen. But if he doesn't, then we should be way ahead. And it's going to be really hard for him to put us on a strong ace like the one we have. I put in the call and the cutoff gets out of the way. Now we're heads up. The turn is an 8. I check again and he checks it back. We're off to a river and it's a brick. I think I have the best hand and I want to make it look like I have a missed flush draw. So I lead out on this river for $185. My opponent thinks for around 20 seconds and calls. I show the ace jack and he mucks. We take down a nice pot and gain some confidence at the same time. I'm down just over $400 now, but that's about to change. A few orbits go by before I pick up pocket kings in the +1. Open to 20 and get called by the low jack and the small blind. Action's on the big blind now, who's the same opponent from last hand. He puts in the 3-bet to 125. This is music to my ears, or to my eyes. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, it's great to get 3-bet when you have pocket kings. Now, there's no way I'm just calling and allowing the players behind me to enter the pot as well, which means it's time to put in the 4-bet. I make it 275. It's basically a min raise, but my goal was just to get it heads up in position against the big blind, and that's exactly what happens. The low jack and small blind fold, and the big blind calls. Everything's going according to plan. The flop comes queen 5-9 rainbow, and my opponent checks it over to me. I c-bet for 225. He calls. The turn is another 9 and my opponent checks again. This is a spot where I'm most likely way ahead or way behind. The only hand I'm really concerned about is pocket queens. All of his other holdings, we're gonna have an awful shape. There's not a lot of bad rivers, and I want this guy to think I have a hand like ace king or pocket jacks. So I check it back. The river is an 8. This time, my opponent doesn't check. He assembles a bet and bets $305. I snap call, and he shows ace queen, which means we have the winner and we're finally in the black. But that didn't last very long. Shortly after that hand, I lose a medium-sized pot with pocket jacks, and then this happens. I'm in middle position and look down at pocket 4s. A new player just sat down on my right and he opens to 20. I call and so does the hijack, small blind, and big blind. We're going 5 ways to a flop. It comes king 8-4. We have bottom set. Both of the blinds check and action's on the initial raiser. I'm hoping he bets, but he doesn't. He checks. I want to start building a pot right now, but this is a really dry board to do that on. So I bet small for $30. Only the small blind and initial raiser call. We're 3 ways to a turn. It's a complete brick, but it does put a flush and straight draw on the board. Action checks to me again and I bet $85. The small blind folds and now it's on the initial raiser. He does something I wasn't expecting at all. He raises to $325. My heart immediately starts pounding. I'm either about to win another massive pot or I'm about to get cooler and probably break this table. One way or the other. This pot's about to get big. Now, I could put in more money right now, but if I do that, I'm most likely only getting called by hands that I have beat. Even a hand like ace-king will probably be forced to fold. So I decide to just call and see what he does on the river. The river comes. Another 8. This is an amazing card, not only because we improved to a full house, but also because it makes it a lot less likely that my opponent has pocket 8s, which means the only hand I should really be worried about is pocket kings. And if he has that hand, then oh well. My opponent thinks about it for all of 10 seconds and bets $600. I have right around $1,500 left in my stack. That leaves me with one option. I'm all in. My opponent doesn't snap call, which means we definitely have the best hand. He thinks about it for half a minute and folds. I don't even care. I'm just happy I didn't get cooler at the very end of this 6-hour session. It's not even a big win. It's not even a big win, but it's a win that I feel like I earned. I stayed patient. I didn't go on tilt. It was a swingy session and it was taxing mentally. And it shouldn't have been, because it's not like I was down thousands of dollars. It's just when you are in a downswing or when you're coming out of one, mentally, when you have swingy sessions, it's so tough because you think every single time you're going back into that downswing, you're going back into that dark place. But look, you can't control the variance. That's part of poker. What you can control is what goes on up here. And I feel like I did a really good job at that. So here are the results. In the game for $2,200. Did not plan on doing that today. I thought I was playing a casual 1-3 game. Was not the case. Out of the game for $3,069. Do the math. Again, it's not a big win, but I feel like I earned that. I'm trying to tell you guys, I'm still locked in, okay? I read the comments. I see the doubters. I'm gonna complete this challenge. Maybe not this month, maybe not next month, maybe not the month after that, but eventually I'm gonna complete this challenge. Quit the yapping. Shut your mouth, people. Stay locked in. Until next time, peace.